Well, we've always been interested in trust because trust is the glue that holds together relationships and, in fact, the entire capital market structure.
Now, an important distinction between the Trust Barometer and this study is that our respondents here are much more educated about the investment industry because they're actively involved.
Just a slight majority of respondents say that they trust investment managers to do the right thing. And while a majority is certainly good, it's certainly not a very strong majority. And perhaps more troubling to observers will be that it's not a particularly strong sentiment.
So we looked at what was the most important factor when hiring an investment manager. And for me, this was one of the most kind of important findings because it really speaks to business ramification, right? And we ask our respondents along a variable set of what mattered most to them when making that initial hire decision.
Aligning with their best interest was by and large the most important factor that they would consider in hiring a new investment manager. Well over twice as many who cited performance as being the most important factor, and over 5 times as many people who cited fees as being most important. Investors in our survey were very clear about what it takes to grow trust going forward, and what was particularly interesting to us was what wasn't at the top of the list. So we expected to see performance because the bottom line of performance is clearly a very important factor for investors. But beyond performance, investors told us that there were other factors that were more important to them in building trust. The number one factor cited by investors was transparency. The second factor was an investment manager's ability to take responsible actions during a time of crisis. And the third factor was committing to ethical business practices. So going beyond a strictly compliance mentality to abide by the rules and regulations of whatever jurisdiction they're doing business in, but committing to industry best practices that put investor interests first.
What has become table stakes in today's world is the what of the product, the what of the service. What increasingly is important in the minds of our respondents is the issue of the intangibles of trust, of behavior, of the how.
Trust is at the essence absolutely necessary for relationships in investment management, and without that it just doesn't work. So it's absolutely critical.